Every year, people die on the toilet. Not because of the toilet, because of what happens when they push. Tonight, after dinner, you'll probably do exactly the same thing. You've done it thousands of times. You'll do it again tomorrow. It feels like nothing. A private, boring, forgettable few minutes of your day. But your body doesn't treat it that way. For a few seconds, your heart rate, your blood pressure, and the pressure inside your own chest are going to swing harder than they do during most workouts. Stick around because you're about to learn three things. Why straining on a toilet can trigger a full nervous system emergency, why some people have died sitting exactly where you're sitting tonight, and why the shape of your toilet might be part of the problem. Here's where it starts. When you push to have a bowel movement, you take a breath, close your throat, and squeeze your abdominal muscles hard. Doctors call this a Valsalva maneuver. It was first described in 1704 by Antonio Valsalva, an anatomist at the University of Bologna who was actually studying the middle ear, not the bathroom. He noticed that forcing air against a closed throat changed pressure throughout the entire body. He had no idea how far that discovery would reach, because 300 years later, that same maneuver is one of the most common things a human body does every single day. And it comes with a cost. When you strain, pressure builds in your chest and abdomen. Blood returning to your heart slows down. Your heart, sensing less blood coming in, briefly beats faster, and your blood pressure spikes. Then you release, and everything crashes the other way. Blood pressure drops, heart rate drops, blood flow to your brain drops with it. For most people, that's it. A little lightheaded, a little dizzy standing up. Nothing more. But not for everyone. There's a name for what happens when it goes further. Defecation syncope. It's the medical term for fainting on the toilet, and it's more common and more serious than almost anyone realizes. Case reports published in emergency and cardiology journals describe patients, most with existing heart conditions, who strained during a bowel movement and went into cardiac arrest. Not stroke victims. Not elderly patients in failing health. People sitting on a toilet in their own home during an ordinary moment their body was built to handle 1,000 times before. Doctors call this reflex the vagal response because it runs through your vagus nerve, the same nerve that also controls your heart rate. Straining overstimulates it, and an overstimulated vagus nerve can slow your heart down far more than it should. Here's what nobody tells you at the doctor's office. This isn't rare because the mechanism is rare. It's rare because almost nobody reports it. Researchers studying defecation syncope have noted that patients are often too embarrassed to mention where they were when it happened. A dizzy spell gets written down, the bathroom part gets left out, which means the true number of cardiac events linked to straining is very likely undercounted, hiding inside a symptom people don't want to explain out loud. So think about that the next time your legs feel weak standing up from the toilet. Your body isn't being dramatic. It's recovering from a real, measurable cardiovascular event, one you triggered on purpose, by pushing. Even today, doctors still don't fully agree on why some people's hearts overreact to this, and others barely notice it at all. Emergency medicine researchers have pointed out something else worth sitting with. Fainting accounts for a meaningful share of all emergency room visits every year, and defecation-related fainting sits quietly inside that number, almost never flagged as its own category. It hides in plain sight, filed under dizziness, filed under low blood pressure, rarely filed under what actually happened. But it isn't only fainting. In documented case reports, patients with existing heart disease have gone into full cardiac arrest mid-bowel movement with no warning symptoms beforehand, no chest pain, no prior dizziness. Just straining, then collapse. That should unsettle you a little. So here's the next question you didn't think to ask. If pushing is this risky, why does the human body still make you do it at all? But here's the part most people never hear. For most of human history, nobody strained like this at all. For hundreds of thousands of years, humans didn't sit to relieve themselves. They squatted, full hip flexion, knees near the chest, the exact posture still used in much of the world today. That position does something a sitting posture doesn't. It straightens the angle of the lower colon, letting waste move through with almost no forced pushing at all. No sitting, no throne, no porcelain bowl. Just a body doing exactly what it evolved to do in the position it evolved to do it in. The sitting toilet is barely 200 years old. In evolutionary terms, that's not even a blink. Your nervous system, your vagus nerve, your entire cardiovascular reflex system, all of it finished evolving long before anyone ever imagined sitting down to do this. Which means every time you sit on a modern toilet, you're asking a 200,000-year-old body to perform a task in a position it was never actually optimized for. So the modern seated toilet, built for comfort and modesty, quietly removed the one mechanical advantage your body relied on for its entire evolutionary history. And it replaced it with something your ancestors almost never had to do: force it out through pure muscular pressure, funneled straight through your chest and your heart. Just pressure. Researchers who have studied bowel mechanics have found that a simple angle change, achieved by lifting the feet onto a stool while sitting, reduces the amount of straining required to have a bowel movement. Less straining means less Valsalva pressure. Less Valsalva pressure means less strain on your heart. Something as small as a footstool is quietly undoing a 200-year-old design flaw. Think about that. A posture your ancestors used automatically for their entire existence, without a single medical study, without a single doctor's recommendation, without ever knowing why it mattered. Their bodies just knew. Yours had to relearn it from a plastic stool sold at a pharmacy. And that's the strange part of all of this. Not that pushing too hard can be dangerous. Bodies have limits, that's not surprising. What's strange is that the modern toilet may have quietly increased how much straining people do compared to the posture humans evolved with. Not evolution failing you, not disease. A chair changing the physics of something you do every day. That dizzy, foggy, slightly too long moment after standing up isn't a personal quirk. It's not just you being tired or dehydrated or dramatic. It's your cardiovascular system recovering in real time from a pressure event you built into your daily routine without ever choosing to. So tonight, after dinner, when you sit down on that toilet and push, you'll know exactly what your body is doing. A 300-year-old discovery, a 200-year-old chair, and a nervous system still running on instructions written long before either one existed, all quietly colliding in the most unremarkable room in your house.